France's foreign minister has said French troops will depart Mali quickly after taking control of the airport in Kida. It's a key position in the last remaining urban stronghold of Islamic extremists in the country's north. French and Malian troops have already recaptured two of the other provincial capitals, Timbuktu and Gao. Let's talk to Cape Town Centre for Conflict Resolution's Executive Director, Adekeye Adebajo. Thanks very much for joining us this evening, sir. For starters, I mean, we've seen these two towns fall in the last few days, Timbuktu and Gao. Kidal, we know, could be the next major town to fall in that northern area. Are the rebels defeated?
I don't think so, Joanne, and I think that the battle in some ways may have only just started. Mali is a large desert territory, and just as you saw in Iraq and Afghanistan, it's possible to actually rout or seem to have military victory, but then you have hit and run attacks that can go on for a long time. And even the mighty US Army has struggled in Afghanistan and is now just going to declare victory and leave without actually establishing a stable state. I think France should avoid the same mistake in Mali.
I mean, it's interesting that we speak about the rebels in a very generic manner. Do we know whether they're one unified group or whether they're sort of splinter groups that are operating towards the same objective but doing so in various different ways?
I think you're absolutely right. They are different groups. The Tuaregs are a distinct group in northern Mali who are culturally distinct and feel that they've been marginalized. And they have been waging a struggle not just in Mali, they also reside in Niger. They've been waging a struggle in Mali since the early 1990s. And that increased in intensity in 2007. And they were recently joined by different Islamic groups, Al-Qaeda in the Maghreb, which came down from Algeria, where they had been battling the regime or the military in Algeria. And you've also got groups that are very battle-hardened and have a lot of weapons from the fall of Muammar Gaddafi in Libya in 2011. So it is a motley crew of different groups that have different struggles. And I think you've even seen differences in the way that some of them have spoken about their opposition.
You having mentioned countries like Libya, you've sort of preempted my next question, which is how likely is it that the conflict will spill over into neighboring areas over the long term?
I think it's very possible that it will spill over because you've already seen conflicts in Libya spilling over into Mali. I mean, you've had, as I said, a lot of the fighters there and a lot of the weapons coming over from Libya. And you've had Algerian groups that were battling the government there going over into Mali. So I think even countries like Niger could be under strain. And also one must remember that there are terrorist groups like Boko Haram in Nigeria that have received training reportedly from Al-Shabaab in Somalia and have links with some of these Islamist groups also in Mali. So there's a wide range over which this particular conflict could spill.
I'm going to ask you for a very brief answer here, Adekeye, and that is, we know that this conflict is ongoing. We know what happened with the United States in Afghanistan, for example. Many may argue that they left the country in worse of a position than they found it. Could that happen with what French troops are doing in Mali?
Well, the US is still going to leave Afghanistan in the next 2 years. I think that could definitely happen because what we could see here is a Pyrrhic victory where France has been able to drive the rebels into the desert, but then they're still able to stage hit and run attacks and are still able to terrorize both the citizens and populations in those areas and the peacekeepers.
Thanks very much for talking to us this evening. Centre for Conflict Resolution Executive Director Adekeye Adebajo.